I think many of you are going to be saying that when Barcelona appointed Ronald Koeman as manager, at least one of the few silver linings was going to be that he was going to potentially get the best out of his fellow Dutchman, Frenkie de Jong. I mean, at least it's what I thought, but anyhow, the situation with Frenkie de Jong has progressed a lot. Slowly, but indeed it has gotten a lot better. Only a month ago, I remember sitting here in this same chair, different studio, but we were commenting on how Frenkie de Jong was being wasted at Barcelona, and potentially he was getting strayed, not adhering to the best attributes that came with playing in a deeper role. Thankfully now all of that has changed, and I want to focus in this video on that. The word change, see how he became this new sort of player, because indeed even for the, let's say, less informed football fans, the very basic ones, it's easy to see that for De Jong there has been a massive shift in his way of playing. And with this, there comes a lot of different questions. What stimulated that change? Is he better in this new role? And most importantly, how does he even play? What does he actually do in his new position? If you want to find out, let's go ahead then. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? BugaLuis here and welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered. And just before starting off, I just wanted to say that the statistics and the numbers that we will be showing in this video, they come from Barça Universal. By no way, shape or form they're sponsoring me. They're just a page that have very good, well-written articles with statistics like this one. So I don't know if they got them themselves. I know some of them come from a page called Football Reference, but anyhow, credit goes to them. At the start of the season, Ronald Koeman utilized the same 4-2-3-1 formation he had been utilizing in the Netherlands national team. This formation saw Frenkie de Jong play as the left side of a double pivot. If one was to believe that this wasn't the formation to get the best out of Frenkie, then that person would be called a fraud. And sadly, I was one of those individuals, because seeing how Frenkie played at Ajax and Netherlands, it was literally all just 4-2-3-1. And I didn't know whether he could do anything else, but thankfully, he shut my mouth closed. When Koeman arrived to Barcelona, I was sure that Frenkie's progression would be very steady. But the thing is that a lot of players in the squad lack their capabilities to exercise the 4-2-3-1 system. I still believe that he can employ that role and he will be more comfortable to play it when the time comes. But the thing is that to reach new heights at Barca, Koeman and De Jong both realized that they couldn't just turn the entire team into a Dutch version of themselves. No. It took Koeman to change to a 4-3-3 to get the best out of Frenkie de Jong. And instead of trying to fit the team into the necessities of De Jong, he did the other thing. He grabbed De Jong and saw how he could benefit Barcelona by utilizing this player, which is how it should have been done in the first place. And therefore now Frenkie de Jong plays as the right midfielder next to Pedri in a midfield three in front of Sergio Busquets. In this more advanced role, the Dutchman's freedom to roam has noticeably increased. He seems fresher, happier, and more impactful in the course of an entire game. No longer do we have those questions after a 60th minute about where is De Jong. No, he's present the full 90. Here is a little visualization of the shift in his role. In theory, there should be more significant differences between the positions De Jong was taking up earlier in the season compared to recent matches. Looking at where he played his passes from certainly back up this claim. In these last few games, De Jong has been operating far less as a deep line playmaker. He is no longer dropping in between the center backs to grab the ball and do the ball carrying himself. Instead, he's looking for ways to attack the penalty area. My theory for these sort of interactions is that his natural profile is that of a right-footed player, and therefore it's easier for him to accompany the right back which pushes forward, and also the wingers which could be Antoine Griezmann or Dembélé. In this new formation as well, De Jong doesn't need to stretch far wide either. Before, if you remember correctly, it was Messi which would play as a right wing, or even Pedri or Coutinho as a left mid. These players naturally drift inwards, and De Jong would be left then to occupy the job of trying to stretch the opposition defense. In this scenario, there's less of De Jong trying to think horizontally and laterally. De Jong is just trying to be vertical. As an additional method of analysis, we can take a look at De Jong passes in clusters. This cluster diagram also allows us to see which passing patterns he repeated with the most frequency. For instance, his top clusters for passes played in the double pivot further reflect his tendency to play out of the left wing. His first cluster does show some activity higher up the field on the right hand side, but in comparison to the young pass clusters from the last 4 games, we can just see how he's favoring these shorter combinations from slightly to the right to the center of the pitch. If we interpret then these diagrams, it lets us see that De Jong is doing passes more of an outlet. He's being a receiver of the ball and delaying it to another player. That could be Pedri, Antoine Griezmann. They do the overlap and then they put a low ball, a cross in front of the opposition defense so that De Jong then can finish it himself. Instead of De Jong looking for the passing outlets to see who is completely open, De Jong now is one of the outlets he would usually tend to pass the ball before to. Where De Jong receives the ball is also vastly different. Once again, earlier this season, we saw that there was a left-sided dominance, and also just how far back De Jong was playing. All of those lateral switches the Dutchman received in defense are short passes from people like Clement Lenglet and Ter Stegen. This now reflects that they are back passes, and most of the time it would be associated with a deep line playmaker like Sergio Busquets. That was the young roles previously. But now, fast forward in time, he's this right interior, and you see that instead De Jong is looking to receive deep passes higher up the field and far away from Barcelona's box, and most even on the penalty area of the opposition team. Once again, this reinforces the point that De Jong is focusing less in the creation and more in the finale of the play itself. However, this doesn't mean that Frenkie de Jong is being less creative. He's just being creative in different ways. And if we take a look at the following stats from Football Reference and the percent stat changes that they have in these charts, we can just see that that's the case. It is clear to see that de Jong has increased his freedom and dynamism in attacking areas. I mean, come on. His non-penalty expected goals per 90 have shot up dramatically by 256%. Furthermore, he has shifted. Instead of trying to carry the ball all the way from his own half, he's driving it into the penalty area and utilizes his skills in a very similar way. He's getting much more involved in creating goals. Goal creating actions are 2 offensive actions leading directly to goal, all of which De Jong has vastly increased. Yet, these increases are not only in the attacking sense of his game, they're also coming defensively. I mean, the Dutch international has been way more active as a ball winner in his new role, with tackles, interception, passes blocked, and successful pressures all going up. His tackles and pressures have increased in the final third, reflecting now that he is a massive asset for Barcelona to try and win the ball back quickly further up the field. Overall, all of this is shown together in Barcelona's performances of late, where basically in short, De Jong has been more of an active player in attacking the penalty areas, supplying a spark to create chances or to get even in the end of them themselves, whilst also taking advantage of the freedom to step out and press with more intensity and consistency. Frenkie de Jong is becoming such an incredible player, and please, if you haven't seen him yet, witness the guy, the change in his career. It's incredible. And just before wrapping up this video, I have a collection of things that De Jong is leaving behind, kind of the traits and characteristics of his game that he is just forgetting because he's not playing in a deep line playmaker role anymore. There has been a significant drop-off in several metrics associated with playing from deep. The Dutchman is getting involved in fewer aerial duels, he is fouling less and playing fewer long balls, which also can be reflected in the pass clusters that we saw before. Yet, one of the most vital decreases that De Jong is letting go in his game could be those horizontal passes, something which could hurt Barcelona in the long run. You may be thinking that, why is this positive? We always talk about these lateral passes that don't get into anything, we need to be vertical, right? But the reality is that when you're in a counterattack, for instance, the ability to ping those long balls from a left-sided midfield position to the right winger can just open the team completely and give you basically an open goal. Hopefully De Jong doesn't miss that because Barcelona needs it more than ever. Overall, with this relative small sample size of just 4 matches, Frenkie de Jong seems to show that his new role for him inside this 4-3-3 might just be the best for him. His strengths are being boosted, but above all, it allows him to play at the benefit of the team and not the other way around. Before, Koeman tried to make the team fit to him and De Jong, but now he makes De Jong fit the team. It's a power play from both parties, the manager and the player. But the biggest benefactor of it all has to be Frenkie de Jong, so all credit goes to him. That's gonna be everything for right now, guys. Hope you have enjoyed. Be sure to let me know in the comment box down below if you learned anything new about De Jong, and if you did, be sure to subscribe for more content just like this one. The Champions League is returning. We see a change in Barcelona and the way they're playing. There is a lot of content for me to produce, so you do not want to miss it. See you in the next one. Take care. Ciao, ciao.